Good morning, everybody. I'm Bart Winkler, Grant Bilse, Paul Imig.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going with Cena fan on your name tag if you're seeing this on the Dan Schani YouTube stream.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the great video I RT'd about Cena?
No.
So John Cena, Grant, you'll enjoy this story too. The historian you are. John Cena gave this interview. It's this show, Ruthless Aggression. He's like, my career was done. I was done. I was going to get fired. I was informed that at Christmas time, I was part of the cuts. And then they had this European tour. And on the European tour, they all take the same bus. And Rey Mysterio, he said, and Rikishi were like freestyling on the bus. And Cena goes,
I do know this story.
Yeah, Cena goes, I thought, what the hell? I'll go back there and do it. And so he was freestyling, and the whole bus was going crazy. And then Stephanie McMahon was on the bus, and she's like, how did you do that? Well, how did you remember to say all those things? He said, I was freestyling. You don't remember. You just do it. And she goes, do one about me. So he did one about her. And she goes, do you want to do that on the next show? And he did it on the next show. And he dressed up in this weird outfit and he did it. And people respond to it. And that's how the freestyle rapper was born, which kept him on the roster and then turned him eventually to the greatest technical wrestler of all time.
All right. Well, okay.
Just kidding about that part.
Okay.
The greatest sports entertainer we've ever known.
That's also nonsense.
The greatest Make-A-Wish giver of history.
That's absolutely true.
Are you not a Cena guy? Because every time that Paul is like, Cena, it implies that you are not, Bart. So
Paul is so, like, people like Cena, people don't like Cena. And I used to not like Cena for a long time. And then, you know, I get excited when and he's coming to Milwaukee. I'll go. But Paul's like, this is actually the most disdain I've ever seen Paul feel for a person.
Let me be clear. The disdain is for the character, not the man.
Well, the man might be even weirder.
I don't like them. Oh, you know what? Let me take that back. The heavy disdain is for the character. I also have a bit of disdain for the man. Have you seen those videos? I've never watched whatever that reality show was, but you might have seen in the same algorithm the clip of Cena's house rules. Like if you go into his house and like you will respect the table by doing this. You will respect my house by doing this.
You have a curfew. You have to make your bed. You gotta.
After dinner, the men will retreat to the cigar room. After dinner, the women will retreat to the something. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, there's very strong Aaron Rodgers vibes coming from him.
Oh.
But I mean, again, this is what's so hard because like Bart will kind of trash Rodgers and then he'll be, but he does some really great things for some people. Cena does some really, really great things for kids. And I totally get being 5, 6, 4 years old and admiring the character as well. It makes total sense. But when a 39-year-old man is like, "Whoa, Cena," and I'm like, "What? What is going on?" And that's what Bart did. Why are we talking about this? This is after week 1. We should.
Your name says Cena.
This is to help remind you that you're supposed to get in touch with Hot Take Jake and other wrestling aficionados so we can have a wrestling episode on the Bart Winkler Show.
We'll do that later. Sorry to everyone that sat through John Cena talk.
I enjoy it, but I just think we should do this in long form sometime soon.
All right, so week 1, we'll get into that discussion.
Tease.
I do want to give a special thanks again to Rami Makloff, who is back in our universe. He was on my Wednesday show.
Wow.
And it's a very typical Bart and Rami experience. If you like that sort of thing, you're going to get it. If you don't, why are you here? The other thing is, before we went on air, we were talking because he's back in Milwaukee and, he's trying to figure out the next stage of his life. And I was telling him, like, yeah, Rami, the craziest thing about my situation is we all lost our job, right? The station that we worked for went away. But where everybody else has been able to, like, oh, there's other places I could maybe at least fill in or whatever. I told him I essentially got fired 3 times because I got fired when I got fired from 1250 or however you want to say it, laid off, whatever. I essentially just got fired because I put all my eggs into 1250.
You did.
and I rallied for it. And that meant taking shots elsewhere. I never thought about anything else other than 1250. And that's why on a Wednesday morning in September of 2023, I'm talking to 2 of my favorite dudes at 8:00 in the morning to post for a podcast in the next 24 hours. So
sounds like it worked out pretty well.
I'm good. I'm doing fine. The CBS stuff is good. I'm on Saturdays now throughout the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's 3 Saturdays in a row where I can't work. So it's going to be like, brother, can you spare a dime?
The best ability is availability, Bart.
But I have to give my availability to the Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Because last Saturday I did the 5-hour show, got right in my car, drove right to the Steve, and then did the PA, which was a very tiring day, but your boy. But now they have games at like 6 and 5, and I just can't make it. So
wait, which are you choosing?
I choose the commitment I gave first, which was the Steve. Yeah. That's what I think that's what any grown man would do.
A man is only as good as his word, and you gave your word to the Steve before you gave it to CBS. That's correct.
I also gave my word, transition, to the Wisconsin Bike Fed to help spread their message. I mean, simply the message is keep your lights on, slow down, maybe go a little slower. The real message is, in more unpolite terms, don't drive like a jerk. I mean, really. The sun's going down earlier, which I was trying to explain that to my son the other day. He's like, where's the sun? And I'm like, he goes, the sun went down. I go, no, we moved. He goes, well, where is it? It's on the other side of the world. And then I had to explain Earth. We're trying to get into Earth. I feel like I explained death pretty good, and now I'm trying to explain Earth.
You did? You tried to or you did explain death?
Well, he knows what death. He knows what dead is. I think.
Wow. Okay. Well, I've decided not to go there yet.
Yeah, never let your kids know about death.
Why did you do that?
Because he doesn't know one of his grandpas, and so I wanted to have him at least know who he was. He's got Nana, Papa. He's just got Nana. Like,
no, I know.
I know it's very tough. I know. Anyway, don't like hit children on bikes when you're driving. That's a message from that part's the message from the Wisconsin Bike Fed. WisconsinBikeFed.org. And by the way, big party. They got a 35th anniversary party going on Friday night. So check that out. WisconsinBikeFed.org. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll talk next week.
I have
been good.
I always bring an extra amount of questions just in case. But I definitely have 3 Packers questions, 1 Aaron Rodgers question, and we are definitely going to conclude with a David Stearns question. So for those thinking we're going to ignore Brewers, I don't know how much you've hit on it yet, Bart, by the time this airs, but I want to have a good David Stearns discussion at the end.
Okay, I do. I have a solid Stearns take at least.
Okay, good. All right. We'll save that that'll be our last question here at the end. You want to start Rodgers or Packers?
Boy. we might as well start Rodgers while we can, right, guys?
Yeah. Let's do it.
That is true, actually.
It will go away. Yep. The content will be going away.
Yep.
And just to think all those months that you lost out on not making Aaron Rodgers content, only to have it all disappear.
That's what I'm trying to catch up. My real take this week is defending those that cheered at the bar.
They cheered for their tab.
They cheered for their tab.
Yep. I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers will misconstrue that significantly. Just like he's
Oh, I never thought about it getting back to him.
Oh, he's going to have a shit fit about it.
Wow. I never thought about it getting back. Because this is what happens. This was a Milwaukee story. Jack's on Brady, East Side. And then
it's a gold package crowd. All of them. That's the problem.
No, don't be that way. So, but what happened was that was a Monday night, Tuesday story. And then Tuesday night, it started to be a national story. And then Wednesday, it's going to be still in the news.
Yep.
So we're already like, all right, we've seen this. And now you got everybody, the Rex Chapmans of the world, got to aggregate content on it. And now they're going to go from there.
When does he go on McAfee? He has me blocked. I don't see any of his stuff. Is he going on at some point this week?
I don't know. He didn't go on Tuesday. If he went on Wednesday, Tim can edit that in, but
sure
in post.
Yeah. McAfee's got to be pissed as a content creator.
McAfee also has Nick Saban Thursdays, and Saban goes to Texas and gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, that's tough.
Is there an ESPN McAfee curse?
414-799.
That's why the Wisco Sports Show doesn't put all its eggs in player basket. Players come and go. We're building something on my show. We're building something that's not week to week, season to season.
Yeah.
Barrett Sports Media write an article about that. Huh?
Yeah. Barrett, BSM.
All right. I have two Rodgers questions. I was curious which one I wanted to lead with. I'm going to ask you this one first. I like to put a little hypothetical on the front of this just to give it some fake stakes. You get $1 million if you get this right. This will totally change the way you answer it. But let's just pretend. Aaron Rodgers has played his last snap in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Or mm-mm.
I'm going to say, okay, so the best, who said this? It was Cowherd. I was listening to Cowherd the other day while I was sitting in line for an admissions test for an hour. And then I had nowhere to go, and I left. The waiting was killing me.
The waiting is the hardest part.
You took it right off my tongue. You did. I was listening. He goes, Rodgers is like, he's going to take this as a sign that he shouldn't have played for another team. And he's going to retire. And I don't think that's the case. He's going to be back around the team. He is invested in the team. The rehab's going to be the hard part, but we're all acting like, I don't know, because he's 39, he's going to be 40. I know this is a tough injury. If this happened when he was 35, I think we'd be like, oh boy, it's going to be tough. But at 39, everybody's just writing him off. I think he plays again. I don't think this is not how he wants to go out. And this is not how I want him to go out. I still need to watch him be bad. I'm really bummed we're not getting Rodgers McCarthy this week.
Yeah.
Although in my Splash Sports pool, the Cowboys are my automatic survivor. Some people like to save survivors. I don't. Take the team you know is going to win.
I'm all in on the Cowboys this year. They're my Super Bowl pick.
I love Dallas. No, here's what I was saying on the last show I was doing on CBS. I said, I want to make this very clear to everybody listening. I said, I am not a Dallas Cowboys fan at all, but I love watching them play. And when I watch them play, I root for them to win.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I feel about the Cowboys. So I think with $1 million on the line, which I would, of course, give to charity, I would say he plays again.
Grant. Or Aaron Rodgers has played his last snap in the NFL.
$1 million on the line. I would also give it to charity, but you know what they say, charity starts at home. So when I say I'd give it to charity, that's what I mean. This is hard. I feel like he plays again too. If this injury would have happened maybe it wouldn't make a difference, but let's say this injury would have happened in like almost after a full season or at the beginning of year 2 in New York, sure. But it was 4 snaps in.
Yeah.
It leaves such an awkward footnote at the end of his career if this is where it ends. And I think Rodgers is a historian of his own career, and I think he's very aware of his legacy. And I would be too if I were him. It's not a negative at all.
They're very, very aware. Yes.
Yeah. So I think he comes back. What are the Jets going to do? Force him out for Zach Wilson?
Yeah, but listen, well, we don't know that yet. We assume that, I mean, I would definitely put my million on the fact that Zach Wilson is not going to suddenly become number 2 overall pick, quality caliber quarterback. But he has a full season to, try it again. So, but I would say that the Jets have not yet experienced disgruntled offseason Aaron Rodgers. Up until this point, they experienced happy-go-lucky, so like this, everything is wonderful, Aaron Rodgers. And there's only one person that story could have come from about how he hates the cut block plays. One person could have known that. And he had that shit ready to fire off to those reporters amidst his MRI.
Yeah.
Buckle in, Jets fans, for disgruntled Aaron, for pissed off Aaron, for the guy that thinks you wronged him, Aaron.
Yeah, that was so like that just when you're kind of feeling bad for the guy, that comes
He fires off those texts. I told you guys, reporters, those cut block plays, and that's what just ended my career. That's what just ended my season.
Can we talk about this for 2 or 3 minutes? I wasn't going to bring this up on my show to react when this happened, but I felt like this report made it okay. It's like the fact that this came out kind of opened the door, I thought, to talk about this. Why does Rodgers want to extend the play? Why does he want to hold the ball? He's 40.
This is what drove me nuts about it's what made him magical, right? Like that is Aaron Rodgers. Like there are so many things that make his legacy what it is and was and will be. But dude, like you're 3 months from 40, and everyone knows that your offensive line is bad. And I think this is what when people push back or when they say the thing about, well, we're finally going to see the Matt LaFleur offense. Yeah, because just take what's there, throw the freaking ball, and go to the next play. Like, not everything needs to be a highlight. I totally agree, Grant. Like, you don't need to extend the play. This is not what you should be doing. What are you thinking?
There was a point in Rodgers where he started to look at every play. We've talked about this, where he doesn't 9-play, 80-yard drive that takes 8 minutes or 12-play, 13. That's not exciting for him.
Right.
He wants big play. Like in Madden, when you're bored, you played 3 games of Madden and, you're very focused. And by your 4th game, you're like,
Nice.
And he plays in that way. He plays
he does.
in that way. Another thing about this whole thing is now Rodgers has become like, oh, Rodgers went down? Well, fuck. We gotta burn every last piece of turf that exists on this planet. So now that's a whole story.
It is.
I think all fields should be grass too, but I feel because that's what all the players say. Like, I don't know that we necessarily need a massive injury.
Well, David Bakhtiari said it very loudly right away.
Yeah.
And then, David Bakhtiari's shadow chaser, Kurt Benkert, then quickly said it as well. To those, you see his tweet, to those asking why I won't be a quarterback again, it's because the memes would stop.
It's like Magic Johnson. Remember when he wanted to step away from the Lakers front office, and one of the reasons was he couldn't tweet, he couldn't talk about basketball. That was a thing. I almost forgot about that. But correct on Rodgers. I always say there's a million different examples of him making football harder than it needs to be.
Yep.
It's what made him unbelievable to watch, but I also think it's what's held him back in some of the biggest moments. And this injury, I'm not saying that's why he got hurt. He could have got hurt on any play.
Sure.
It's just the fact that little report came out, in my opinion, opened the door to talk about one of Rodgers' flaws. And I think his biggest flaw that's held him back in the biggest moments. It hasn't held him back against the Bears or in the regular season, but against the best teams, it gets him.
In the big moments. Yeah, so I'm going to go with we'll do a chorus of agreement. Has Aaron Rodgers has played his last snap in the NFL.
They're doing a chorus.
No, it was good. You guys did pretty good harmony. He has not played his last snap. He won't let that be it. I just don't think there's just no way.
You guys, can I tell you guys something?
Sure, Bart.
Can we break it down?
Break it down.
I've always been a very open and honest guy.
If this is a happy place on Battery that he's setting up.
This one is not.
Okay.
This is an ad for 4Golf, which is what I had.
Okay.
4golfapparel.com. Use the promo code BART for 10% off. Great shirts, especially if you need shirts for a golf outing with a bunch of guys. No, I want to talk about this is real.
Sounds real.
I want to talk about the role Kurt Benkert's playing in my life.
Is he a sexual partner? Because that's the only thing this music is making me think about. That's where this is going.
If you're a sexual partner with Kurt Benkert, the discreet packaging of forhinge.com. No, Kurt Benkert. I'm really trying to not be an asshole anymore. Everybody out there is doing their own thing. And I don't need to be the gatekeeper of content. Some role I thought that I was born to play. People are going to do what they're going to do on this frequency. They're going to do what they're going to do on that. They're going to do what they're going to do on that podcast. They're going to do what they're going to do with that account. And I look at Kurt, and I got to remember he's just like a 26-year-old kid trying to make it as whatever. He's just trying to take the talent he has. And sometimes he tweets shit that's so... I just want to attack him. And I got to get over that. So, Kurt, if you're listening, I'm not attacking you. And you're like, who is this guy? You're right. I played 3 less snaps than you in football. I'm a nobody. But I'm really using you. You're like my muse. So notice, I want you guys to know, every time you see Kurt Benkert with a tweet, and you think to yourself, man, weird tweet, but you move on with your life, know that I montage the rest of my evening at different corners of my bedroom, just thinking about the tweet and trying to figure out why this will be the tweet that ends me. So I am really struggling right now with Kurt Benkert.
That song's pretty catchy. Actually, I might have to go find that.
It's called Night Driving, available on StreamYard.
And notice Grant how he
for $25 a month.
Notice how he faded it out, because we gave him critical feedback.
There's some shows in your market. It's just first of all, you don't need a song to play you out at the end of every segment, unless it's a hard.
That is a bad practice.
Thank you. Now, a little inside baseball at the end of the hour, right? You are hard synced. You are out. So what you do is you talk until there's 10 seconds ish left, and then you pot up the music so you don't get cut off. That is different than let's take a break. Here's a song. I'm going to let it play for
if you're talking about it and a song comes up organically and you're talking, let's say this is real rudimentary, but you went to the Rose Bowl and you stayed in this bad hotel and then at the end the producer's and then he plays a little bit of Hotel California going out of the break. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff you look for. Yep. But if you just do all right, the Brewers, they lose, whatever, the big win. All right, we'll come on back. And then it's fucking Bulls on Parade out of nowhere.
I swear to you, I was about to start singing Bulls on Parade. I was supposed to go, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And I was like, that is so wild that you also went there.
It works for some shows, the more
spunky. No, it doesn't.
But also,
I know your tones at this point, Grant. Like it works for some show. You do like this like where I know you're lying. You don't really believe what you say.
There are some shows that it works better. It's still not my thing, but it's not like a travesty on some shows. But there's one show in particular that I'm thinking of where they don't ramp it. You don't hear it leading up because you can use it as a cue. It's like, oh, there's a break coming. But there's one show where it's like, and we'll be back. 0 to 10, and now Jason Derulo is playing. That's we don't need that.
Well, see, Grant, no, you probably stick to your tight time codes, even on the Wisco Sports Show when you're not on the statewide network. Like, because you were saying, oh, like you have hard stop breaks at the top of the hour. Try telling that to Wednesday's guest, Rami Makloff, who you have like the 2:00 Big Show hour would go until 3:15. Yeah. And then the 3:00 hour would be from 3:22 to 4:19. There was no.
I played fast and loose with segments, but I always respected the top of the hour.
Yeah.
The Big Show never once got out on time.
I'm 100% with Bart. I didn't take my second break of the hour, my bottom of the hour break. I waited until we were done with Mike Clemens. I took it at like 48. But come 59, I was there, and I correctly ramped. I ramped that final segment, but not the others.
That's why you're a pro. That's why you're.
I'm gonna go get another splash of coffee. It's just right. I'm not going far, so I can hear. I don't need to do that.
Well, then I'm just gonna tell you about HappyPlaceHemp.com. HappyPlaceHemp.com, promo code BART for 25% off each and every order, and it does come in discreet packaging. Why, you ask? Well, if you get a box that says Happy Place Hemp on it, someone's going to steal it very easily. You don't want that. It's a nice little white box. Fits your things. Free. Oh, my God. Grant's dancing. I'm dying. HappyPlaceHemp.com. Free shipping. 2625 Tim Shea, edit cough. Okay, so we're doing something with I can't say the team, but I can say the Green Bay football team. And this will be a long-term play. So we're doing 25% off every time you use HappyPlaceHemp.com. Every time. You use it once, you use it again. Get your gummies, get your tinctures, get it all. Get it all every time. And then keep track throughout the season of how many times Green Bay wins. Because each win is going to be another percent. And at the end of the season, if they win 7 games, 7 plus 25, we're going to do a week of 32% off. Okay? The guy goes, what if they go undefeated? And then I sent him a gif of going out of business. Because, I mean, those prices would be. So we're hoping for like 8, 9, 10 wins. Get like a 33, 34, 35% towards the end of the year. And then once the new year turns, once the season's over, you can just stock up for the winter. But don't not get you need supply until then. So 25% off, happyplacehemp.com. Grant, very smooth hips.
Well, I had a wedding this last weekend. Less is more on the dance floor. It's men who do less is more, like in Hitch. Then
I might have to introduce this music into the
Winkler verse.
Into the Winkler.
I wasn't messing around. I want to go. I want to go find what the song is. This freaks me. It's going now as long as we have. We should have another topic or two.
All right, ready?
Okay, all right.
I'm going to ask you. This is good. You get a 10-second. You get a 10-second response only, and then I'm going to move on past Rodgers. This was my other topic that I was toying with. We already did a big Rodgers topic, so this is going to be you get 10 seconds or less. On a scale between ha 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 and aw with Rodgers, your honest reaction on Monday night was closer to what? You don't get the middle. You're like, oh, this is kind of sad, but also ha ha ha. Were you closer to ha 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 or aw on Monday night? 10 seconds or less, go.
Bart?
Well, on a personal level, like I'm not cherishing. I don't feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for me for not being able to root against him. but I'm not laughing about it.
Grant.
I was all the way sad. I was all the way, I pooped my pants. I think we all did. It wasn't real. All this buildup. He ran out with the flag, Paul. I've never seen a football stadium like that, except for maybe in college, and then it was just done. So it was very
Chris
sad.
Gizzy.
Yeah, or Scott Stapp when he came flying out at that Cowboys game.
Saw that.
Paul?
That was I was more the jaw drop, like, whoa. But I have to admit, sorry to say, I was closer to. I think someone on your post-game show said this was objectively funny. Was that Matt or Jake? It's objectively funny.
Hot Take Jake is gaining a reputation for rooting for injuries. I'm not saying that. I was just seeing tweets of people accusing him of that. So
it
was.
You know what it was? It was a big text moment. Yeah. He goes down 20 minutes later. I've got 60 texts.
I agree that, I mean, it's not, the injury isn't funny. The story concluding in this way is objectively funny. You can feel bad for the person and still say, from a story perspective, from an story arc, objectively a funny ending to that act. Like,
if you wrote the whole Aaron Rodgers movie and this was the final scene, people would walk out of theaters pretty pissed off.
Absolutely.
They'd be like, yes. Why do you end it?
Especially with Hard Knocks and the fact that that was just Aaron Rodgers perfectly attempting to craft his own narrative. And when the narrative couldn't be controlled by him, this is the first thing that happened. It's beautiful art. You know, I'm sorry that the art is of the drama variety and not the comedy, but it's art. It is. All right, moving on. Packers. The 2022 first round pick, who you believe will have the more impactful Packers career from this day forward.
Ooh.
So this is Quay Walker versus Devonte Wyatt. The 2022 first round pick that you believe moving forward, forget anything that happened last season and in week one, the more impactful player of those two moving forward from this day forward is Devonte Wyatt. Or Bart.
I need to go outside the box with this one. So Grant, if you'd like to.
Grant, or Devonte Wyatt.
I have a confession. I have a confession.
Do you want to go first, or I'm confused?
I'm confused too.
Go ahead.
No, I don't watch when the Packers are on defense.
What?
I'm just kidding. But whenever we talk about defense, I just pull shit out of my ass. I don't know. I could right now, as you were asking the question, I was like, which guy should I say? And then which reason should I give? Who? I don't know. I can't do defense.
Well, who? They both had wow moments.
I was probably going to say Quay Walker, basing that on nothing. And then I was going to give reasons and say, well, Quay, and, he had a reputation last year. He's fighting. And now, the way he bounced off that guy, like, what am I saying? I'm not saying anything.
But Devonte Wyatt is very with the players on the defensive line.
Very with the players.
Yeah.
It is a good question, one that I'm not good at answering. And in this era I call this my Bankert era. In this Bankert era, I'm trying to make sure that I am not just true to myself,
Grant,
but true to the people that follow me. Now, when I end the show, and this is the music outro, that is
art.
That's how you produce.
I think Wyatt, because I don't know. Wyatt. Look at the Jets, right, and how their defense is built. They're built almost exclusively through their defensive line. Like, we don't talk about the edge rushers. They don't have necessarily a Myles Garrett or a Micah Park. It's all these interior guys, and it's so hard to game plan against players like that because you can't shade protection one way or another. You can't chip with a tight end. So I think if Quay Walker and Devonte Wyatt end up kind of being the same caliber of player, and that's kind of what I would bet on, I think Devonte Wyatt is more impactful because of the nature of his position. And because the Packers have needed to stop the run and they've needed to get better in the trenches forever. And I think if Devonte Wyatt is good, and I think he will be, I think Quay Walker and Devonte Wyatt both will be. I think he'll be more impactful. I think Quay will be good, but I don't really love the coverage unit behind him. The cornerback position is a little up in the air right now, and that kind of leaves him out on an island. I thought Blake Martinez was a fine linebacker, but we blamed him for everything because he was kind of out there on an island. I think the same can happen to a player like Quay Walker. So I'll say Wyatt, but
Blake Martinez was too focused on his Pokemon trade.
Correct.
The thing, so I'm going to say Devonte Wyatt, which of course, last season as rookies is a preposterous. Not that Quay Walker was good, but Devonte Wyatt like almost literally didn't play, which is not great for the 28th overall pick in the draft. And I have to remind myself, and I think it's important to remember, Devonte Wyatt is 25 years old. 25 and a half years old. I mean, he's a March birthday. He's a March birthday. Like, he's 25 and a half and he's only in his second year. So, he probably has only a 6-year impactful career. Like most defensive linemen hit 30 and they don't get better. There's your outliers.
Better.
Quay Walker is going to be on the field for almost every play, right? As an inside linebacker, Devonte Wyatt's going to sub in and out. But I think the answer is Devonte Wyatt. For many of the reasons that Grant laid out, clearly there's not going to be that wow moment from an inside linebacker, no matter how good they are, like there was with an interception return for a touchdown where he's bouncing off the guys. Like, that's not going to happen again. So what do his weeks look like when there's not that? So I'm going to go with Wyatt. But if we're saying more impactful career, then I do think we have to keep in mind that Wyatt is 2.5 years older than Quay Walker, which is not nothing.
You were on the Packers beat when Kenny Clark was drafted. What was he, 21? He was young, wasn't
20.
he?
I think he was 20. Yeah, very, very young.
Isn't that wild? There's a 4 or 5 year difference.
Yeah, I mean, how much older is Kenny Clark than Devonte Wyatt? A year?
Interesting.
Let's see.
Tim,
sorry, I'm trying to book a time with Horvat for tomorrow.
2 years older. All right, Bart, let's see if you can answer this one more.
And with all due, I mean, the question's a good one, and the conversation that followed is good. I'm sorry that I'm. It's like with any great quarterback, you got to know your weaknesses.
Yeah,
and you got to know the strengths of those around you, and you got to know that if you're like, I'm 39, so at this point in my life, I'm not going to extend conversations if I don't have to.
You're doing it right now.
Especially if that means that the left tackle is going to let the guy come sack me. I'm not going to do that. I mean, consider the enormity of my ego if I were to do that, and then turn around and blame the coaches for the scheme of the blocking.
I think we should put out a report after this episode drops that we didn't like the strategy that Paul took with his questions this week. Can we leak to someone in the Winklerverse that report?
Yeah.
We told Paul.
Paul talked too long about John Cena.
Yeah. Didn't want to bring it up. Wanted to just Anyway, speaking of 2022 draft picks, you are concerned about injuries, short and long term, with Christian Watson. You're officially at that point of worry that injuries will get in the way will be the main story of, think of it how you want, of the Christian Watson career. You're worried about that. The injuries will be a major impact, negative impact, obviously, on Christian Watson's career. Or
You like me to go first? This one? Maybe real brief.
Sure, because I'm going to go outside the box again.
Okay, I'll go inside the box. He's played or has had the opportunity to play in 18 games now, 18 regular season games, and he's missed 6? He missed a couple with a hamstring last year and then a concussion, and he missed the opener. So he has missed a lot. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned slightly, but this is part of learning to be an NFL player, right? You learn to manage injuries. You learn how your body reacts and responds to certain things. And he's got to learn that. And you hope that he will. I think you have to hope. But he was more raw than most coming in. It's not like he was a polished professional from LSU or from Bama. So I think you need to consider that as well, that he's greener than most. And part of being green is learning to manage your body. So hopefully, as he polishes his game and he has a lot of polishing to do still. He also, learns to manage and works with some veterans on the team. So I'm concerned, but I think there's reason to be optimistic for sure.
Bart.
I don't believe that being injury prone is a thing.
Oh, with hamstrings, it's definitely a thing.
So, but if you hurt a hamstring, it might linger.
No.
Is that what you're defining as injury prone?
I didn't say injury prone in the question. You can take it that direction if you want, but to say that
Clearly,
ligaments, like that hamstrings, we're all built differently. We've all trained differently up until the point of, in their cases, becoming professional athletes. Not all hamstrings are built the same. Not all hamstrings have been trained and developed the same. Like, there are instances where hamstring injury people are hamstring injury people. I say that as a hamstring injury person, albeit a non-professional athlete hamstring person. Like,
yeah,
I disagree with that.
Once you hurt it stays hurt.
Well, and okay, so then in that case,
so you're asking me long term if I'm worried about the hamstring.
Yes, if you want to take it in the micro direction, but just like that, it's going to be always in the way. It has you worried that it's going to be the thing that's like, Watson's really good, but ... And you're never just gonna be able to say Watson was really good. It's because there's always that lingering. Yeah, but like he missed 6 games again. Oh, but he's not available for week 1. Anyway, take it how you want to go.
Again, somebody asked me about the game, and Watson was hurt. Christian Watson was never going to be the thing that decided Packers-Bears.
I thought he could have been. And obviously that was foolish. Now
I don't know. People see that he's out on the injury report. You act like he's Sterling Sharp with a neck injury.
The problem is okay, but who else do you throw the ball to then for first game starting quarterback Jordan Love? His number 1 presumed weapon is not there. Not a Romeo Doubs, who played well, was also hurt, but played.
Love him.
Yeah.
Well, there's an article out by Rob Domofsky who I'm blocked by Rob. I didn't.
You knew that.
There's an article out by Matt Schneidman and what? There's this one guy who covers the Packers, JJ Leahy, and he blocked me too. There's a elementary school that the Sabish Middle School in Fond du Lac, and they blocked me.
Your middle school has you blocked?
A middle school in Fond du Lac has me blocked.
Why?
I wonder if the Highbury has me blocked.
You should not.
So
be
the Highbury
school.
had me blocked for some reason, and then I went there a bunch for Milwaukee Pro Soccer, and I talked to the guy, and we were super friendly. And I told him, he goes, "Oh man, that what." And then they unblocked me. And then they blocked me again. The Highbury Bar has me blocked on Twitter. Why?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any bar that has a Twitter account is not a bar for me. I'll just go out and say that right now. I want my bar I don't want the owner of my bar owning a smartphone. That's a red flag for me. That's not a bar that I want to hang out at. I want them to have a flip phone. Were you going somewhere? With the
I know you said you were going outside the box. Is this as far as your?
I appreciate a long setup, but
no, I don't think injury prone. I don't believe in it. And if Christian Watson is going to have a lifetime injury, I don't know that he's good enough for me to worry.
Oh wow, I think he is good enough.
I don't know. When Christian Watson's on the injury report, people are acting like it's Jordy Nelson or some shit.
Relative to this team, he is a little bit.
Absolutely this team's Jordy Nelson.
But I don't know. I'm just telling you.
Uh-oh. He muted, thankfully.
I was doing and I get lightheaded. I almost fell yesterday.
He's muted. No, he's good.
Jesus Christ.
He's on meds now. He's on the road to recovery, presumably.
Not enough meds.
He's miming, puking into a bucket. I think miming. Can't say for sure.
One would hope.
I think it was miming. He seems.
I'm shaky.
We can see you. Yeah.
What? I was doing so good, guys.
You were doing very good.
Christian Watson he's 6'4", and he's the fastest person on a football field. I'm not saying he's Jordy Nelson, but it's a big deal when he's out, even if he's not getting a ton of catches, just because you have to dedicate so much attention to him. It's the same. It's the same concept as gravity, like with Steph Curry, a team that you are intimately.
Oh, I love discussing gravity in the NBA. Let's closer to the NBA season. Can we have a long form discussion about?
I want to do a gravity episode.
Oh, hell yes!
What are you guys talking about?
Like how players affect the gravity of the court, and because of just them being there affects everything else.
Is that a real thing?
It's a very real thing. Are you serious?
I didn't hear.
Back on mute. Yes, it's a real thing, right, Grant? I mean, I don't know how this has escaped Bart for 39 and a half years, but
especially as a Golden State Warriors fan.
Right.
I've never heard about anyone do that.
What is your bit today? You're extending these bits just just a little bit farther than they need to be extended.
What are you talking about?
We can't tell if you're serious that you've never heard of the concept of a player.
Well, I've heard of gravity.
No, but and probably the movie as well. But have you heard of it in relation to like?
No, I've never seen any NBA discussion that has talked about gravity.
Well, you need to spend less time with the 19-year-olds on Twitter and more time in smart NBA circles like me and Grant run in.
Yeah, retweet.
Oh, I understand. I can see how it's a concept. I'm not belittling that.
You know what's messed up, Paul? And then your topic is we're like less than a month away from getting Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo, and House doing preseason win totals. How did we get here? It feels like just yesterday I listened to the podcast. Jesus Christ, Bart.
He just put up a technical difficulties. Please.
No, that's just for the Dan Schani YouTube streamers.
There's some prop comedy. All right. All right. So let me just conclude with this with more visual comedy. It's very hard to answer you guys a question when I'm staring at this. Very, very difficult.
Just ask.
Are you sure this is very weird? I don't think I can see. All right. The Colts reportedly asked for Christian Watson in the Jonathan Taylor trade discussions. I put up a poll. When the Colts reportedly asked for Christian Watson in a trade for Jonathan Taylor, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst should have ... agreed to that deal, hung up the phone quickly, offered only a second-round pick, or offered a second and a third-round pick. I don't know if you actually responded in the poll, but how would you respond of what Gutekunst should have done if that was the offer being made? And I parallel this because we just talked about Watson and if you are concerned or if you're not concerned and all of that. I will tell you 52% said should have hung up the phone quickly, which means 48% would have countered to some degree Grant and Bart.
First of all, I voted all your polls, and I don't appreciate.
Thanks, buddy.
I don't appreciate the implication that I don't or that I wouldn't.
Wow.
No, Christian Watson, because I don't know what Bart's on, and I don't know. Maybe we need to do the Christian Watson thing. He's a number one wide receiver.
Yeah, he's
got the potential to be a number one wide receiver and one of the best top guys in the league. I'm not saying top 5, but like up there is a very, very good first option. And Jonathan Taylor is an aging running back in the final year of his contract. Jim Irsay is nuts, but that's the reason why Jonathan Taylor wants out anyways.
I like that you said aging. I do like that you said aging running back.
He's super old. He's
24.
What is he, 3 months older than you? You fucking Zymote.
I'm older than Jonathan. Is he not aging? Last time I checked, he is aging. Is he not?
You are not inaccurate to say that he like all of us are aging. So Grant, you said hung up the phone quickly.
Yeah, I mean, counter. AJ Dillon sucks.
He's terrible.
Which, by the way, I'm glad we're now all on the same page with that.
It did take 3+ years to get here, but he
wrote a children's book in Winter County, guys.
He and Aaron Jones are sort of like the most vocal. They are like they are the Packers now, and like this post, it's going to become Jordan Love and obviously whatever else. But like Aaron Jones is so visible, so likable, and AJ Dillon is like the Brown County guy. So,
but honestly, when Dillon's in there, watch a drive. First down, he'll get 2 yards. 2nd and 8, he'll get 6 yards. 3rd and 2,
incomplete pass.
-1.
He's in the backfield tackled.
That screenplay that they set up for him, it was either late in the 3rd quarter or early in the 4th. They had 3 blockers in front of him. He's the only running back in football who doesn't get the first down there. He's poor. He's piss poor. And it's nothing personal. It's just, all offseason, I had to, and not to call it Pete. I like Pete, but Pete, I think, can get sometimes over his skis with his takes and his tweets. He tweets, the Packers might have the best backfield in football. What? AJ Dillon I don't know that he's replacement level. I think he's worse than average. Again, nothing personal. But if they can't, look at it this way. If they could not effectively run the ball and pick up first downs in garbage time with AJ Dillon on Saturday just to run out the clock, what is he for? What does he do if they can't use him effectively in that setting? I don't know.
Speaking I wanted to mention this at one point, a Ben Fennell tweet.
Ben Fennell.
He had said that, so he watched the game back. LaFleur did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different like sweeps and the duo concept and the triple option and power and counter, all from under center, gun, and the pistol. LaFleur took like everything he's ever wanted to do play formation wise and did it in this game. And he gave a lot on tape for teams to look for, which is, if you're like, if it's under Rodgers, it was almost like Tecmo Super Bowl. Like, what one of these 8 plays are we running? But LaFleur put a bunch out there. And so now Packer prep week is going to be a little harder. By the way, thoughts on the game on Sunday? I like the Packers to win. The Falcons defense is going to be better than the Bears, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. The thing I said the other night was just because the Packers beat the Bears this way, I don't know. It's almost like this is week 1. I don't know what to expect out of this team. We haven't seen enough. I guess I'll take them to win. I won't be surprised if they lose. So I don't know. I'll take the Packers to win like 24-22.
I mean, we only have 1 game of data on all these teams. So I know that the Bears are worse than a lot of teams, and I think that the Packers are better than some, but we don't know by how much, and we don't know exactly. So I don't know what to make of the Falcons. The Falcons are weird, man. And I like Arthur Smith, and I kind of like what they got going on. But you drafted Kyle Pitts in the top 5, and you drafted Drake London in the top 10, and Drake London doesn't have a catch last week. And then he's asked about it in his post-game press conference. He's like, let me stop you right there. I'll let the fantasy guys ask and answer those questions. All we care about is winning. Drake London doesn't care. I promise you that. I'm like, he might. He might care. I mean, you took him in the top 10. He didn't have a catch. So I don't know.
I mean, Kyle Pitts has 2 catches, when he's supposed to be like the next like generational tight end.
Tyler Algier gets all the goal line touches. And like they did use Bijan Robinson quite a bit, but a lot of the Falcons' frustration stems from fantasy. But like, if you don't want to use your fancy targets, then don't draft them in the top 10. That's just bad business. Anyways,
I have a Jordan Love topic, but I think I'm going to save it for next week.
No.
Wait, how many minutes do we have?
Well, we got to get the Stearns one in.
Let's get the Stearns. So we're going to take a quick intermission. Each week, I hope to bring you this following intermission. This is brought to you by Bart Becoming Mature, who is mature enough to say envelope and we've learned not mature enough to say, what was last week's word? Vase. Not mature enough for that.
We're not there yet.
Bart, are you mature enough to say foyer, or is it a foyer?
Oh. Foyer. But then you should guess what I'm going to say. Foyer? What? Put your coat down in my foyer. Put it in my foyer.
Where's your coat? I seamed it. It was in my foyer. Yeah. He is mature. Bart is mature enough to not fight with Kirk Benkert on Twitter, despite
You know what I haven't been to in a long enough time is a party where I go in and they say, can I take your coat? And then they go, just throw it. There's a room there. Just throw it on the bed.
On the bed. Yeah.
I haven't been to a throw your coat on the bed party in a while.
When was the last time you were at
hopefully at your age, hopefully at our age, like there aren't any more throw your coat on the bed. Like that doesn't seem like.
Why not? Throw your coat on the bed.
It was a staple of a Midwest party around the holidays.
Yeah, families, you can throw your coat on the bed.
In the 80s, and I don't know. I
don't wear coats
ever.
Do you wear shorts in the winter?
No, but I don't really wear coats.
He says while coughing up a lung.
I wear one coat. I'm gonna go you asked the Stearns. I'm gonna go get the one coat on that I wear, and I only wear it when I'm shoveling.
Well, I think you're gonna have to be here for the question, so
I'll hear you.
You'll hear me. Okay.
I'm going. It's in my basement. I'm not going to fucking Burlington Coat Factory.
I thought you were maybe going up into your foyer.
It's just on the bed. It's just on the bed in the basement bedroom. That's right.
The unfinished basement bedroom where all the guest coats go.
Oh my God.
David Stearns, and this is where it's going to be important to nuance the following. David Stearns leaves a very good legacy as Brewers GM / president of operations.
No.
The operative word, very good.
First of all, I need my new seat cushion.
Yeah, very nice.
From County Stadium.
I like it.
Here's my take on David Stearns.
Prop comedy.
That's not a coat. That's a sweater.
Yeah, that's not a coat.
News 8 though. Oh, that's bitching.
News 8.
David Stearns, your take, Bart.
He leaves a very good legacy.
I did say this on yesterday's show. Sure, he leaves a good legacy. Here's what David Stearns is. Now these articles have come out that you only like baseball if you're if this happens when you're a kid. Son, it's time for bed now, David. Okay, just let me No, David, we talked about this. It's time for bed. But the Mets game, it's only the fourth inning. I want to see Dwight Gooden finish this out. David, I'll tell you the results in the morning, and they got a day game, and we're going to Shea this weekend. Everything's going to be okay, David. It's just one game. There's 162 of these, okay? Yes, Father. David goes to bed. David's got a transistor radio, and he sleeps with it under his pillow, and he listens to the end of the game. And then he hears it the whole day. And then he comes down the stairs the next day, and he goes, Daddy, how about that Mets win? Well, did you get a copy of today's paper, David? I never told you that the Mets had won. How did you find out?
Oh, jeez. Bart.
You can only like baseball if at one point you grew up putting a radio under your bed and listening. David Stearns. So here's David Stearns. David Stearns is a guy who he got the girl. He's a guy in high school, pined for this girl. They go to college, and they like boingy once or twice. Go their separate ways. She probably got divorced. He's just been working at the plow. They meet up, Halloween party. No, that's where I met with my wife. Different example. They meet up at the 15th anniversary of the high school. And then he's like, what's the song where hey baby, how you doing? Well, your hair looks so good now.
I don't know.
Lone Star.
Oh.
Lone Star?
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Well, like Mr. Mom.
No, that's what she's doing these days.
That's what she's doing. Oh, hey, baby. That's Rascal Flatts. No, that's Lone Star. I know the song.
No, it's Rascal Flatts.
I fucking knew it. Okay, but now I know what you're talking about. Okay, now I'm there.
Is that you? Yeah, your hair got so long. Yeah, I love it. I really do. And then they like get together. They've gone their separate ways. They started together. This is very long. I'm sorry. they've gone their separate ways.
I'm kind of spitting.
They were always going to end up together. So what I infer is that every day that David Stearns was in that locker room, every day that he was celebrating another, bite at the apple or World Series berth, every trade he made, every step he took, every breath he took.
Wow.
Who was the last team on his mind when he went to bed? Just like it was in those old Brooklyn roads, Queens roads, it was the Mets. This guy was an imposter. He's always wanted this job. I got a lot of references musically here. We were his stepping stone. Okay. I'm going to cut this out, but I'm not.
That was good. You were spitting.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally do. I don't know that it's
like,
a bad thing.
We all knew you were going to end up there. Did we mean nothing to you?
We didn't mean nothing. Don't put that on him. That's not fair. Don't act like none of the successes and the ups and downs we had in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but the smile that he had when it became official, he never smiled like that here. I know it.
You don't think that after what happened last year, David Stearns he doesn't have a little bit of frustration with the organization? Rightfully so. You don't think so?
With the Brewers?
Yeah.
Why would he have frustration with the Brewers?
Oh, because the owner was like, I didn't tell him to do that.
The owner did hang him out to dry just a little bit. Just a bit.
Unless it was...
I'm not saying the Hader move was good. It didn't work out. But the owner completely hung him out to dry on that. And maybe he deserved to get hung out to dry because it was a shit.
I was going to say, like that. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
I don't know. I think he was burned out. And I think he made one bad move, basically. He made smaller, like little moves that didn't pan out, but so does every executive. He has one miss in like 6 years of taking the poverty-ass Brewers to the playoffs year after year after year. He makes one miss in a trade that was probably going to happen months later anyways, not excusing it because it was an awful trade. And his owner threw him under the bus.
Someone told me after college, you ran off to Vegas. Married a rodeo cowboy. Wow, that ain't the girl I knew.
Rascal Flatts is a really underrated band, by the way. A lot of hits. They really took Lone Star's work and took it in another step. Which was
he just twanged a little more.
Just a little more. Not too much. A little less on the vocal. They went less Diamond Rio and a little bit more, I don't know, wherever step they took.
Country music like 2002, 2003, all bangers, minus any song that was like, my cock's an American Eagle, and he's gonna fuck up the whole world. That was a little much.
Is that a real song?
Is it? Somewhere.
You guys don't think think of this. You don't think the Pete Alonso leak post-trade deadline is interesting in all of this? I think it's interesting.
It is interesting.
I think it's the Brewers.
The best thing since wrestling, investing in your...
The Brewers are probably, Mark Anassi is probably just a little bit annoyed with the Mets trying to poach his guy for years, despite him being under contract. They're finally going to get him. So what does he do? He's like, well, fuck him. We almost got Pete Alonso from him, and they're shopping him actively. So I want everyone to know about this now. Little kick to the Mets as he could, is basically the only thing he could do. But I thought that leak was interesting now, kind of knowing what had been moving.
Where would you put Council going there in terms of like, what's it likely? Like, Council's going there is as likely as it is that a hurricane's going to develop in Lake Michigan and tear through Shorewood.
Well, just ask Sam Cuffle with climate change. That could happen any day now. I had actually Bob Nightingale, USA Today, on my show the other day. And while he is not the most dynamic guest, my God, is he plugged in and he knows what's going on. Even if he
is not dynamic.
He is not. He is not. I think he
is a newspaper come to life,
which I appreciate. That matches the sport that he covers.
That's not fair.
He's tweeted it. He's written about it. Council's stepping away, and he's not going to manage elsewhere at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this family.
He's not going to manage the Mets. That's for sure.
He's not going to manage the Mets. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, after taking a break, We also talked about the possibility that maybe he works in a front office or works in some setting that doesn't demand he be in a dugout 6 months a year. But also baseball guys, they love that. They love being in the clubhouse and they love contending and trying to win games every day. So maybe that is in him, but he's not going to the Mets. I would feel very confident in that.
So wait, so Bart, you definitely answered the question of, did David Stearns use this as a stepping stone? Mm-hmm. I don't think you answered the question of if he leaves a very good legacy with the Brewers.
He should.
Well, yeah, we had success when he was here.
He was the architect of the golden age of Brewers baseball.
Which Tim
is that what we're calling this?
That one?
Fuck, Tim. What is with your generation's obsession with like 2007 to 2012? That was a fun little window where they made the playoffs like twice.
It's the same about your obsession about it's the same period of my life as your life now.
Except they were better in the period that I talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what we're gonna say?
we got. You compare your rings, I'll compare my rings.
Well, nobody has rings. This is a Brewers conversation we're having.
So we all agree then it's pretty undisputed. Mm-hmm. He leaves a very good legacy.
Paul, how much did your wedding ring cost? The one that you wear?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure this was $99.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a size too big, but I'm not like my grandpa. Never took it off ever. I'm like, well, I want to take a shower.
That's nice.
Anyway.
He definitely leaves a very, very good legacy. I kind of saw that being disputed a little bit, and I was playing with what word to use, like very good. Like he leaves a great legacy. Like where would you stop in your praise for the legacy that Stearns leaves?
I'd say awesome.
I'd say very good.
Very productive, very successful, very achievementable.
Yeah. And you did all those songs, Bart, and the one song you didn't do that I'm sure you would regret not including is Legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see.
David Stearns is not going to see some of the seeds that he planted in Milwaukee.
Bart Winkler Show has been produced in a Shorewood basement. Guests of the Bart Winkler Show receive nothing. In fact, it's probably worse for them to have come on.
Mm-hmm.
Bart Winkler Show can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Odyssey.
This sounds like most Drake songs ever made. And I mean that is nothing but the strongest compliment. So is that it? Are we done?
I was seeing who talked first.
Damn it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Then you get a little higher before you actually fade. So you get a little higher.